Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how we can perform web scraping in Python using the beautiful soup module. Now if you don't know what is web scraping, it's basically the process of extracting some data from a website programmatically. In this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a Python program which is going to access a particular information from the IMDb website, and then it's going to load this information into my Excel file. Now, you may be already aware of IMDb website, which contains the ratings for movies. And one of the information that is available in this website is the top rated movies of all time. And that is the information that I want my Python program to access and then extract it and then load it into an Excel file. I'm going to write this program from scratch so you can actually follow along with me. And as a prerequisite, we just need to install two modules. One is the request module and the other is the beautiful soup. Now we need request module in order to access the website, and then we need the beautiful soup in order to parse the HTML of that website. And beautiful soup makes it very easy to parse the HTML and then provides us so many different methods in order to access different tags that are available in the HTML. Now, you don't really need to be an expert in HTML, but you just need to know the most basic. That is, in an HTML, the data or information is all available within the tags. So you should just know how a tag is represented and how you can find the attributes of a tag, which is pretty straightforward. I hope you will get that when we are going to be writing this program. So even if you are not comfortable with HTML, you will still be able to perform web scraping and follow along with this video. Now, before I start writing the program, if you have not subscribed to the channel and if you're interested in SQL, Python, data science, data analytics kind of contents, then please make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video and you find it useful, then please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues and also like the video. Thank you, and let's begin. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to install the two modules, that is the beautiful soup and request module. To do that, just go to your terminal and type pip3 install and the module name. So let's install request module first. I have already installed it, so it will tell me that the module is already installed. But if you have not installed, it would tell you it is installed successfully. And I'm using Mac, so I'm using the command like pip3 install. But if you're using Windows, the command would be pip install and the module name. Okay. Now to install a beautiful soup, the module name is actually bs4. So you just need to type pip3 install bs4. Okay. So I have already installed bs4, so it tells me that already installed. But if you have not, it would tell you installed successfully. So let me just close this. And now let's start writing the program. So let me open a new file and I'm going to give the name like scrape imdb.py. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to import the modules. So I'm just going to say from bs4 import beautiful soup. Okay, and next is import request. Okay, so we have imported the modules. The next thing that we need to do is, okay, let's go and look at our website which we are trying to scrape. So let me go into my browser and just type IMDb. Okay, so you would see the first website here, and inside this you have this something like top rated movies. So you can just click on that and this would show you the top rated movies of all time. So here it's showing 250 movies. So you can see that there are all the movies here. So 250 movies should be here and you can see it here. So the Python code that we are going to write now, what we are going to do is we are going to access this website and then access these 250 movies. So we are going to access its rank, its movie name, its year of release, and the IMDb rating. And all of this information we are going to extract and then load it into an Excel file. Okay, now let me just copy this URL and let's go back to my program. Here the first thing that we need to do is we need to use the request module to access this website. Okay, how we can do that is we can just say source equal to request dot get and then just pass in the URL. Now what this will do is it's going to access this website and it's going to return a response object. Okay, this response object is going to be stored in my variable source. This response object is going to have a few things, and one of the things is it's going to have the HTML source code of this particular web page. Okay, now if you want to see the HTML source code of this web page, and you can just right click anywhere in the web page and then click inspect. Okay, and then you would see some HTML text here, and this is basically the source code. Okay, this is the source code that we want to extract by using the request module. Okay, I can proceed, but there's one thing that I want to tell here is that whenever I'm using a request module, I always try to put this inside the try and accept block. The reason for that is, so let me execute this. Okay, so if I execute this, you would see there is no problem because this is a valid URL, and there should not be any problem. But let's say if I gave an invalid URL, so I just type 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, something like this, and if I execute this, basically this website does not exist. Okay, so if I just copy this, go to my browser and enter that, it would throw that page not found error. Okay, but this particular request.get is not able to capture that error. Okay, so in order to capture an error from your response object, what you can do is using the response object, that is source, you have a method called as raise for status. Okay, so this raise for status is going to throw an error in case this URL is having some issues. Okay, it's not able to access the website or something like that. Okay, now if I execute this program, let me save this, and if I execute this program, it's going to throw an error saying that basically this URL is not found. Okay, so this is a good practice. So whenever you're using request.get, always try to use the raise for status, just so that you capture an error if the website is not reachable. Okay, now since it's going to throw an error and it would crash my whole program, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put whole of this inside my try and accept block. Okay, so I'm just going to say try and then accept, and I say exception as E, and I'm going to print the exception. Okay, that's all. So, and I'm going to write all my block inside the try block. Okay, now from this response object, I can extract the HTML source code, that is basically this source code. Okay, and then I can pass it to my beautiful soup in order so that it can parse it. Okay, how we can do that is I'm just going to say soup equal to beautiful soup, and then I'm going to pass that response object, the HTML text of that response object. So I can just say source.text. Okay, so this source is my response object, and in order to access the HTML text from that response object, I need to use the .text. Okay, so this will return me the HTML content of this particular web page. Once I receive that, I need to now parse this HTML. Okay, so I need to pass a parser. So I am just going to use the HTML parser. This is the default parser that comes along with your Python installation. There are other parsers as well, like LXML, and there are a few others. If you want, you can use any other parsers. It does not really matter which parser you use, at least for this IMDb website. So what this is going to do is Beautiful Soup is going to take the HTML content of this website, of this web page, and then it's going to parse it using this particular parser. And it's going to return a Beautiful Soup object, which is going to be stored in my variable soup. Okay, so if I just now print this, okay, so I just say print of soup just to see how parsed HTML looks like. So I can just execute it. I'm getting an error because I need to give the proper website name. So okay, now you can see that it's returning the HTML, the parsed HTML that was returned by this Beautiful Soup object. Okay, we need to extract the movie detail that is present in this web page. So this web page has a lot of different contents. You can see here there is a lot of things. Okay, we don't need all of that. So let me just close this. So this is my whole website, right? It has a lot of details. I just need this section, that is this section where there is movie details. In order to extract that, what I can do is just go to the section that you want to extract, right click on that and click inspect. What this will do is it's going to show you the exact place in the HTML content from where this particular content is being displayed. Okay, now I can see that based on how my cursor is pointing. So when I point my cursor, it's telling me exactly which section of the web page is shown using this particular HTML content. Okay, so if I move my cursor slightly down, If I keep it here, it's now highlighting 9.2, meaning that this is the piece of code which is responsible for displaying 9.2. And if I keep it somewhere, let's say here, this is the poster column. So this poster is basically being displayed by this particular code, okay? And so on and so forth. Now I want to extract this particular movie name, right? And then I want to extract all other movie names, rank, year, and IMDb ratings. I know that it's basically coming from this particular piece of code. Now this is a tag. So in HTML, just to give you an overview, all the data is present within the tags, and you can identify a tag by this symbol. So it's basically the less than symbol, and then you have a tag name, and then the greater than symbol. Okay. Now this is a beginning of a tag, okay, and the end of the tag will just have a / prior to the tag name. So it's going to have a less than symbol / the tag name, and then the greater than symbol. Okay, now this is how a tag is represented in HTML. Now some tags will have additional attributes. So meaning that here, if you see this one, okay, so this TD tag, it's basically the beginning of the tag, but there is also some attributes mentioned here, and class is one of the attributes of this TD tag. It has a name like poster column, okay, and then this is the end of the tag. Okay, so just remember this. You don't really need to know a lot of HTML, but these basic things, that how a tag is represented in HTML, and how you can find if a tag has some attributes, and how what are the attributes, how you can identify that. That's all. Okay, so if you know this, you should be good enough to perform web scraping. Okay, so now we want to extract the movie name. Okay, now if I right click and click on inspect, you can see that it's coming from here. Now this particular section is belonging to the tag ye, and ye has several attributes. So there is an href attribute, and then I think there is a title attribute, and then and then after that, this particular thing. So the text that is given in between the beginning of the tag and the end of the tag is basically the text that is associated with that tag. So in this case, this Shawshank Redemption, this is the movie name. This is the text of this particular tag ye. Okay, if I write a code which will access the tag ye and then access the text of the tag ye, it should return me the name of this, okay, this movie name. Okay, now I know that this tag ye is actually present inside my tag td. Okay, now this td, if I just click here, okay, you can see that it's coming from this td tag. Okay, depending on how I'm moving my cursor. So if I move it up, it's pointing to something else on the screen. If I move it to this title column, okay, the td tag which has the class as title column, this is basically the tag from where the movie name, the rank, and the year is shown. Okay, and if I move the cursor slightly down to this td tag where the class is rating column IMDb rating, this is the tag from where the IMDb rating is shown up. Okay, so this is basically how, just by moving the cursors, or just by right clicking on the content that you want and clicking on inspect, you will identify the exact piece of the HTML code from where a piece of information is shown on the screen, and then you just need to write your script to point at that particular tag in order to extract the data. Okay, now what we want is, we want to extract the movie name, and to extract that, I know that it's coming from this td tag, and this td tag is present inside the tag tr. So I know that it's coming from here. So if I minimize that, you can see now that this tr tag is actually responsible for the whole of this first movie. How you can identify that is how it's highlighting this. When I move the cursor to this first tr, it's highlighting the first movie. When I move it to the second tr, it's highlighting the second movie. When I move it to the third tr, it's highlighting the third movie, and so on and so forth. Okay, so basically there would be 250 trs here. Each tr tag here is holding the details of one particular movie. Okay, so now we know that in order to extract all these 250 movies, we just need to extract this tr tag, and from this tr tag we will be able to extract all the data that we want. Okay, now this tr tag is actually present inside my parent tag, that is tbody. So if I keep my cursor here on tbody, and if I just minimize this, okay, you can see that it's basically highlighting this whole section. Okay, so if I just go to the bottom, okay, and if I just keep here and move it back to the tbody tag, you can see that all of this 250 movies, this whole section of where movies are being listed, is basically present inside the master tag or the parent tag tbody. Okay, it has the class like lister list, and inside tbody is where you have all these tr tags. So what we need to now do is we need to first access the tbody tag, and once we access the tbody tag, then we will try to access the tr tag. Okay, let's try to write our code to access the tbody tag. So what we can do is, let's go back to our script. So I'm here, let me just close this. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this print, I don't need that. So I'm going to say movies. Okay, movies equal to soup dot find, and I'm going to find that particular tag. So the tag is tbody. So I just mentioned the tag name here, tbody, and it has a class. So I'm just going to say class equal to the exact name here, that is lister dash list. So I just say lister dash list. Okay, now generally when this find is basically a method that is available with your beautiful soup object. Find is going to basically fetch the first match. Okay, so in this case I'm trying to match a tag who has basically with the name tbody and with a class with this value, that is lister dash list. Since class has a special meaning in Python, it's a special keyword, we cannot straight away use class here, so we just use underscore. But if I had to specify any other attribute, so if I say here I have a tag div, it has an attribute id, I could just say id equal to something in this find if I wanted to find a tag with which has having an id. Okay, but whenever you're trying to specify a class, you need to use an underscore. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I have created a variable and I'm going to assign it with whatever this soup is going to find. I'm trying to find tbody with this particular class. Okay, so if I now just do a print of movies, okay, so if I execute this, there is some error. Okay, now it's fine. So basically the file name that I was calling this function, this program was wrong, but anyways I just re-executed, it's working fine. So what I have done is I've just written the code in order to access this particular tag tbody. Okay, now I am here. Now from here I need to access all the tr tags, and from each of the tr tags I need to access the td tag in order to get the movie name and other details. Okay, so this is fine. So there is only one tbody tag in this HTML, and hence I can use the find. But I know that there are many tr tags within this tbody tag. So in order to find the multiple tr tags, I cannot just use find, but I have a method called as .findAll. Okay, so now either I can write this findAll in the next line as well, but I will just try to use it here. So what I'm doing is from this result, okay, this resulted in all the HTML, basically this tbody HTML, everything that was inside this tbody. Okay, now from that I'm trying to find all the tr tag. In order to do that, I'm just saying .findAll, and I pass the tag name, that is tr, and then I need to see any attributes. It does not have any attribute. Yeah, it does not have any attribute, so I can just leave it like that, tr. So hopefully this should find all the tr tags, and I know that there are 250 movies, so hopefully there should be 250 trs. This findAll will always return a list. Okay, so hopefully it should return a list with 250 values of tr. Okay, so just to confirm that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the length of that. Okay, so length of this movies, and when I execute this, okay, so it's returning 250. So that means I have now successfully able to point my code to each of these tr tags here. Okay, so let me remove this print, and let me now open a loop, because I want to iterate through each tr tag, and then from each tr tag I want to access the td tag which has the information of the movies that I'm looking for. Okay, now in order to iterate through each tr tag, I can just say for movie in movies. Okay, because I know that this movies is basically having a list which has 250 tr tag details. Okay, and from that movies I'm going to fetch one movie at a time, because I know that each tr tag holds details of one movie. Okay, so I'm going to iterate it to each movie, and what I'm going to do is, let me first print this movie. Okay, let's just see what this movie has, and I'm going to break this. I just want to check for the first movie only. Okay, so if I execute this, okay, so it's returning tr. So this is the end of the tr tag. Yeah, so it's returning the whole of the tr tag. Okay, now what basically this has returned is, it's returned the first tr tag, everything that was present inside this tr tag. Okay, now what I want is, if I right click on this movie and click inspect, I want this particular section, that is the movie name, which is inside the ea tag, which is inside the td tag with the class title column. So from this tr, I need to now access the tag td, which has the class as title column. In order to do that, what I'm going to do is, let me just move it here. So first thing I'm trying to access is the movie name. So I'm going to say name equal to movie dot, and I'm going to use find, and I'm going to say the tag as td, because I'm trying to find the tag td which has the class like title column. So I'm going to say class equal to title column. Okay, so this should hopefully fetch me up to the td tag. Now let me just print that. So let me just print this name just to see what we have inside the name currently. So if I execute this, name movie, okay, so if I execute this, so you can see that it's now returning the whole td tag, whole the contents of td tag, and inside this td tag I want to find a movie name which is inside my tag ye, and it's the text of ye. So what I can do is, I can say, again I can use either find, but I can also say dot the tag name. So in this case the tag name is ye. So if I now execute this, it should return only the contents which is present inside the tag ye. Okay, so that's what it's printing, only the tag details of tag ye. Now as I told you, after ye, here you have a few attributes, but basically the text that is mentioned within the beginning and the end of the tag is the text of that tag. So I want to access that text. In order to access the text of a tag, I can just say dot text, that is tag dot text. Now if I execute this, now you can see that it's basically returning the movie name, and this is exactly what I wanted. So just by writing this simple code here, I'm able to access the exact movie name from the tr tag, and then by entering into the td tag, and then entering into the ye tag, and then fetching the text of the ye tag. Okay, so we have now achieved one goal, that is to extract the name of the movie. Now let's go to the next one. Now I want to extract the rank of the movie. So this is 1 here. So if I just right click on that 1 and click on inspect, it's pointing me to this particular piece of HTML code, and it's telling me that it's present in this td tag with the class title column. It's basically the same tag where we found the name as well, but here the 1 is basically the text of the tag td. Okay, so we need to access the text of the tag td. Now to do that, I'm just going to say rank equal to, so I can just copy this same thing here. So because I again want to access the td tag with the class title column, and that is what I'm doing here. And then from here, I want to access the text of the td tag, correct? So I'll just print this rank. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm getting this 1, but along with that, I'm also getting few other details. This is the movie name, the year, and everything. The reason for that is, when I'm using the text attribute for that tag, it's going to return the text of that tag as well as the text of any tags that is inside that. So here I have a tag ye, so it's the text of ye is also getting returned, and then I have another tag span. The text of this span is also getting returned. Okay, so I'm not sure if you are able to see this. Let me just zoom this. Okay, I'm sorry, maybe you were not able to see this properly, but hopefully now you'll be able to see it.
So this is basically my tag TD. It has a text 1, but it has another tag A, and it has some text that is the movie name, and then there is another tag span. It also has a text 1994, and that is why when I just use dot text, it's going to return me the text of not only that tag but also of the text of all the tags within that tag. Okay, now that is why I'm not going to use text, but I'm going to use another method called as find text. Okay, and then inside find text, it's basically going to find the text, but here I can pass some attributes. So one of the attribute that I'm going to pass is strip equal to true. Strip is basically going to strip all the new line characters or tab characters or spaces, and I'm saying it true, so it's going to strip all of that. So now if I just execute this, non type object. Okay, I think it's not find text, it's get text. Okay, so if I just execute this, okay, so now I am able to get the text and all the spaces, new line characters, everything is removed. So this is much better. Okay, now still this is not what we want. We want is just 1. So I can see that after 1 there is a dot, and if I go back to the web page, you can see that after each rank I have a dot 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4, dot etc. So I can say that if I just split this whole text based on dot, I should be able to just extract the first value here. That is any value that is prior to dot. So in order to do that, I can just use a function that is split. Okay, so I can just split, and then I can pass the character as dot. So it's going to split this text based on dot. Okay, now and it's going to return a list. Okay, if I execute this, you can see that, okay, you can see that it's returning a list, and all the characters before the dot it's returning in the index 0, and then all the characters after dot is returning in the next index. Okay, I'm only interested in this one, so it's present in index 0, so I can just pass, since it's a list, I can just pass the index like this as 0, and now when I execute this, it should only return me the 1. Okay, yes, so that's all. And now using this simple line of code, I am able to access the rank. Okay, so we have now able to access name as well as we are able to access the rank. Now let's try to access the next one, that is year. Okay, and if I go back to this particular web page, and if I right click on the year and click inspect, it's going to point me to the exact code where this HTML code is written. And I know that this is present inside the tag span, and this 1994 is basically the text of this tag span, and this tag span is inside my tag TD with the class title column. So this is basically the same tag where we found the movie name and the rank. So again, I can use the same tag here. I can just copy paste it, and next I need to access the tag span. So I can just say dot span, and I know that I need to access the text of that tag. So I can just say dot text, and now if I just, okay, let me just print year. If I execute this, so you can see that I'm able to extract the year, but there are some parentheses in the beginning and the end. I want to remove that. So in order to remove that, I can just say dot strip and those parentheses. Okay, so if I execute now, so the strip is basically another string method that you can use with any string, and it's just going to strip out any character that you mention here. So I'm passing the parentheses, so it's going to remove the parentheses, and I'm able to get the year. So I'm able to get the year, rank, and name, and the last one that I want to extract is the IMDb rating. So I'm just going to call this variable like rating, and let's go back to our website. So this is a rating that I want to extract, so I'm going to right click on that and click on inspect. Now it's going to tell me this particular rating is coming from this piece of HTML here, and I can see that the tag is strong, and it's basically the text of the tag strong, and this tag is present inside another tag called TD, and this TD is not the same TD that we previously accessed. This is a other TD which has a class like rating column IMDb rating. Okay, so now we need to write a code to access this TD tag. Okay, so how we can do that is I'm just going to say movie dot find. I know the tag name is still TD, but it belongs to a different class, so I'm just going to provide that particular class name. Okay, so I can just go here, right click on this and click on attribute and copy attribute value. So it's going to copy this class name, since I do not want to do any typo, and I'm just going to do this. So I have provided this. Now hopefully it should access this particular TD tag. Okay, so let's just print this rating, and if I just execute this, it should hopefully print the TD tag with this particular class. And yes, it's doing that. It's printing the TD tag with the class that we provided here. Now inside that, I need to access this strong tag. Okay, so I can just say dot strong, and then I need to access the text of that. So hopefully this should work. If I execute this, and that's all. So I'm able to extract the IMDb rating. So basically the 4 information that I wanted to access from this website, I have been able to access it for the first movie. Okay, since I'm using a break here, it's only iterating, this loop is iterating only once. It's only extracting all of these details from this first TR tag. Okay, now let me just print all of these 4 values. Okay, so let's say rank, comma, name, comma, year, comma, rating. Okay, and if I just execute this, so it's printing everything here. Now let me just remove this break and see if it works for all the 250 movies. So now if I execute this, you can see that all the 250 movie details are now being printed on the screen, and this is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so this is fine. So just with this much piece of code, it's hardly, I think, how many, 4 lines of code here, 5, I think around 10 lines of code, we have been able to access the IMDb website and import or basically extract all these movie details. Okay, now this is fine. The last thing that I wanted to do is I want to load all of this information into an Excel file. Okay, so there are a few modules that we can use to basically create a Excel file and load some data into that. The module that I'm going to use is the openpyxl. I'm not going to really explain you in detail how to work with openpyxl, but I'm just going to say enough with which you will be able to create a new Excel file and then load some data into that. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to import this module, that is openpyxl, and then the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a new Excel file. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this for now, and let's say I'm going to comment out this, okay, until we figure out the code for creating and loading Excel. Let's just comment out this. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is we'll try to create a new Excel. So to do that, I can just say any variable. So I'm going to call it like Excel equal to openpyxl dot workbook. Okay, that's all. So this will create a new Excel file. So once a new Excel file is created, we know that Excel can have multiple sheets. Let's see how many sheets this Excel file has. To do that, I can just say print of Excel dot sheet names. Okay, and let me just execute this. Okay, so if I just execute this, it's just returning sheet, meaning that this Excel file only has one sheet. That this is the default sheet and this is the default name. And I want to change this sheet name, but before that, let me assign a new variable sheet with the active sheet. So this Excel, now currently it has only one sheet, but I think in some other operating systems, and depending on the version of Python you're using, there may be 1 or 3 sheets. So we want to make sure that we are working on the active sheet. Active sheet is basically the sheet where we are going to load the data. Okay, so to do that, we can just say Excel dot active, and now I'm going to use this variable sheet and I'm going to change the title. So I can just say title equal to some different name for the sheet. So let's say this is top rated movies. Okay, and now if I just print the sheet name again, let's see if the sheet name has changed. If I execute this, you can see that initially the sheet name was sheet, and now I have changed it to top rated movies. So I have created the Excel. I have now changed the sheet name. That is fine. Now let's load some heading into this Excel. So I know that this Excel is going to have 4 columns. I am going to have this name, rank, year, and ratings. So let's create some headings for that. Okay, the column names. So how we can do that is I can just say sheet dot append, and I can just pass a list with all the values. So I need 4 columns here, so I'm just going to pass 4 values, and the 4 values will be rank. So this will be movie rank, and next will be movie name, and next will be year of release, and next will be the IMDb rating. Okay, I have basically created an Excel. I have changed the sheet name, and then I have added a row into that sheet with basically 4 columns. Okay, this is basically my column header. Now what I want to do is every time my scraper, my program below is going to extract some value from the website, I want it to also load that value into this Excel. So how I can do that is just after this print, I'm going to say again sheet dot append, and I'm going to pass a list with all these 4 values. So I'm just going to copy this, okay, and I'm going to pass it here. Now this values, that is basically the details of each movie during each iteration of this loop, it's going to load into this Excel file. Okay, so that's all. And finally what we need to do is we need to save this Excel. Only then the Excel will be created. So in order to save this Excel, I just need to say excel.save, and I need to pass an Excel file name. So I'm going to pass it like IMDb movie ratings .xlsx. Okay, so that's all. Now before I execute this program, let me just show you what I have in this folder. So you can see that in this folder I have nothing, just the py file, that basically this program that I have created, and there is nothing else here. Now when I execute this program, okay, this print is what I had here, ignore that, and you have this 250 movies printed here, so that is fine. And also there is an Excel file that has been created here. Okay, now let's look at that Excel file. Okay, this is a path and this is a file, so let me just open that, and you can see that the Excel file has been created and it has all the details. So let me just zoom in on this, and you can see that basically the column names are exactly what I gave, and hopefully there should be 250 movies. Yes, the 250 movies have been loaded here. So this is how simple it is to create an Excel in Python using the openpyxl and then load some data into that. Okay, hopefully this program gave you some idea and some information of how to perform web scraping in Python using the beautiful soup library, and how you have scraped the IMDb website. You can apply similar logic to scrape other websites as well, but of course other websites would have different tag names and different attributes, so you will have to do it specific to that website. But hopefully it was helpful. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and see you soon in the next one. Bye.